Hey guys, welcome to my channel. You asked me, Marina, how long it took you to learn English? In this video, I'm going to talk about it. So basically, I started learning English when I was 4, and I moved to the US at the age of 26, so 3 years ago. And I've definitely gained a lot of progress here, but there are some things that you can pay attention to at certain levels of your English language, and I will give you some tips that helped me a lot. So if you're interested, continue watching. When I started learning English at the age of 4, it was really basic. It was just learning basic phrases, basic words like cat and dog, present simple, present future. Until the age of 14, I was just building this base. And now I realize that 10 years is a little too much. The problem with that was I was taught by Russian teachers. I was taught in a Russian group. It was like 2 or 3 times a week. It wasn't really intense, so it took a while. And if I were to start learning English now, it would have probably taken me like 6 months to go through that base. Because yeah, 10 years is a little too much. The problem with just gaining the base for so long was that I didn't have practice. Like, you know, sometimes it happens with people who are trying to run a business or start something. They're like, oh, no, I'm gonna take more time. I'm gonna make it perfect. I'm gonna spend 2 years designing the landing page or whatever. And then in 2 years, they roll out the product to the market, and guess what? Nobody needs it. Because perfect products are not made in that way. Perfect products are made in a way that you roll something out to the market like a prototype, get the feedback, and then you evolve through that process. There's this exchange process going on when you're giving something and you're receiving feedback. Same with the language. Like, if you're trying to learn 12 tenses before actually speaking, you're making a huge mistake, because you can actually start talking just using the 3 tenses, even like 1 tense. Because the thing is, English is your instrument. English is a tool that's going to help you get a better job, move abroad, get a job abroad, or just expand in your field and start learning in English. And it's not something that has to be really perfect. It has to become a tool that you can use intuitively without thinking, and that would help you become understood by foreigners. So don't try to learn future perfect continuous before going on and trying to talk. I would highly recommend starting practicing your speech right now. Let's look at 4 aspects of the language: reading, speaking, writing, and listening. Reading. If you're pre-intermediate, intermediate, you can already start reading. The easiest texts are for kids, so you can go ahead and get a book for kids. By Jacqueline Wilson, for example, she has a lot of books and they are marked with an age, like this book is for 8-year-olds, this book is for 10-year-olds. So if you're pre-intermediate, intermediate, this is something that's perfect for you. There are a lot of adapted books. So it's a tough book if you read it in the original version, but it's adapted for ESL learners, and they replace difficult words with easy ones. You can totally do that. And there are also so many things like Instagram posts or Facebook posts by other bloggers that you can read, because it's normally easier to understand a blogger than an author. So do that, start reading. The rule of thumb with reading, don't check every second word in a dictionary. Because what happens, like, my goal is to help you make learning English fun. I want you to understand that it's a great tool, and I want you to enjoy learning it. But if you're reading something and you're checking every second word in a dictionary, that's not fun. Like, you're gonna hate it. You're gonna stop learning English and you're gonna burn the books that you've got. Don't do that. Find a book where every 5th or 6th word doesn't make any sense to you, and try to understand them from the context. This is the best way. If you see a word for like 3 times and you really want to check it in the dictionary because it doesn't make a lot of sense, then do it. But if you check every second word, that's not going to work. I just remembered when I read Harry Potter in English, I was like, there are so many words that do not make sense. And I went into the dictionary and there were no such words. And then I realized that like Laviosa, whatever they used in that book, was actually made up. That was a funny thing. So be careful with those words as well, because a lot of words are made up. If you're upper intermediate or like intermediate reaching upper intermediate, you can start reading bestsellers. They're normally really easy to read. They don't have a lot of like scientific vocabulary. Try to read The Subtle Art of Not Giving, and F-U-C-K. I'm not gonna read that word because sometimes YouTube demonetizes my videos for that. So try reading that book. Try reading Crushing It by Gary Vee. It's a really easy narrative and it's very motivational, so I think you're gonna enjoy it. Let's go to the next part of the language. It's actually writing. And writing is the same thought process as speaking. You're basically trying to deliver your thoughts in English, but in a written form. What I used to do when I was a kid, I would do like a diary, like a daily planner, where I would just write things down, like whatever happened to me. I think till the age of 16, I did it in English. And then after the age of 16, I decided to do that in German, just to make sure my mom doesn't understand it like 100%, which was probably stupid because my German wasn't really good. That was my way to practice. And you could also start like Instagram or Facebook, start writing in English. If you're afraid to make mistakes, there is Fluent.Express, where native speakers take your text and they correct it instantly. And even if you make mistakes like different word order, or maybe you translated something in your head from your own language into English and it doesn't make sense to a native speaker, those guys are going to correct it. So especially if you're blogging and if you're afraid of making mistakes, this is your go-to website. Another thing that I've just found in a bookshop I was visiting here in San Francisco, they have this lovely book where you have like March 17th and then you have 5 years, 2019, 2020, 2021, etc. And you write like 2 sentences about what happened this day. And imagine like in 2022, you will open March 17th and you're gonna see what happened on this day in the previous years. I think this is great and really motivational. So if you can find something that motivates you to write in English every day, this is perfect. And it doesn't have to be like an essay, because I cannot imagine somebody just sitting down and writing essays every single day in English just to practice. You're gonna abandon that idea really fast. So Instagram, diary, planner, this is something that's gonna work for you. The next part is really crucial and one of the hardest to practice is speaking, because basically what I used to do when I was back in Russia, I used to talk to myself. I used to find native speakers in museums and I try to approach native speakers in the street, like tourists who visited St. Petersburg. Maybe this is not like the best idea, but talking to yourself definitely works. Recording yourself and listening to your recording definitely works. Of course, going to an English speaking environment is the best. I'm gonna leave a link below to a school where I went in the UK, because it helped me improve so well, and I would highly recommend it to anyone. It's a little on the pricier side. You need like a minimum $800 to travel, but it really pays. Like the progress is amazing. In terms of speaking, also try to find a speaking partner so you can connect with them, maybe from another country, maybe in comments below, so you can practice English together, and make sure you have something in common, because that's also very helpful. And the next and the last part of English is listening. Listening practice is really easy to perform at home, because you have TV shows, you have YouTube. For pre-intermediate, intermediate language learners, I would recommend watching kids cartoons in English. There are so many on YouTube. Like I think 50% of YouTube's content is for kids. So do that. If you're a little above, do TV shows, do movies. But one advice for me is don't do subtitles in your own language. Because what happens when you do that, you just stop focusing on English language and your brain switches to another language, which is your mother tongue. And there is no sense in doing that. So just do English subtitles if you have difficulties understanding what's going on. Watch TV shows that are very visual. Like for example, The Office, I just finished watching it. I watched all of the seasons. I think they have like 9 or 10. They're very short episodes, like 20 minutes each, and they're pretty much disconnected from each other. So if you take a break like for a month, you can just go back and continue watching. The vocabulary that they use is really easy. So try The Office, try Sex and the City, super easy. If you're watching like a movie, try something that's a comedy, not like a drama, so it doesn't have a very complicated plot. And my last advice to you, if you're already advanced, the next step to becoming a native speaker is actually learning how to switch different languages, like switching from your own language to English and back, and like doing that several times during an hour. This is what really trains your brain. So if you're reaching the native speaker level, work on your accent and work on switching between different languages. That was it from me, guys. Again, Fluent.Express if you need your texts checked by a native speaker, and linguatrip.com if you want to travel and learn languages. Thank you so much for watching this video. I would appreciate your comments below if you have any questions regarding learning English, and I will see you soon in the next videos. Bye.